So, last week, I started singing Godspell songs in the middle of the sermon. This week, I was really tempted to start off that way again. But I'll be generous and not. You're welcome. Now, by hearing John today, we can get really fired up at times, right? Oh, you brood of vipers, you. We're not like them at all, are we? These people back then, they didn't know what they were talking about, what they were doing. These brood of vipers needed all this help. Who taught you to come and flee the wrath that is to come? Don't you know this is not just fire insurance that I give you? And yet, it seems that even nowadays, we could hear these exact same words and go, uh-oh. This is for us too. Not just for people long ago, before they had Jesus, before he started leading the way. We still have all this. Consider for a moment, how many of us have more than one coat? Who all here has more than one coat? Yep. I have my regular coat, I have my backup coat, I have my nice professional coat, I have a trench coat. If you count all my hoodies, that's a few more coats there. Man, whoever has two coats, I'm sure someone else has something. Share, give. Whoever has food to eat. How many of us have walked around our kitchen and our pantries and gone, there's nothing here to eat, when the whole cupboards are filled with food to eat? Why do we do that? Now, maybe you want some particular snack, and that particular snack you finished yesterday, because yesterday you had a craving for that same snack too. And today you're going, there's nothing here. My goldfish are not here, so therefore, there is nothing here at all besides, the chips and the salsa and everything basically in the whole wide world besides goldfish is right here in front of my face. Or freezer fulls of food, and you're going, there's nothing here for dinner tonight. What am I ever going to make tonight? Besides, I have, chicken and pork and venison and everything else, but still, what am I going to make? Sound familiar at all? Those who have food make sure that no one has to go hungry. Share what you have. And how many times we take that seriously? How many times we actually sit down and realize just how blessed we really are? How blessed we are to have food readily available. And that even if we had nothing left in the house because we just gorged ourselves one day, maybe as teenagers, that could be one of the reasons why, the store is pretty close by. You need to get something. We have this call from John. The same call that God gives us throughout all of time. The same call that leads us to a life that is filled with far more purpose. A life that is lived with very much intention. Not to sit back on our couches, balancing our bowls of food on our bellies or on our knees as we just keep eating and eating and eating and keep watching more and more TV, just binging everything in our whole life. Rather, we are called to a life that is filled with the intention of looking at our world and saying, I'm here for you. Everything that I have is a blessing, not just for myself, but for everyone else as well. So anyone who is hungry can be fed. Anyone who is thirsty may have drink. Anyone who is homeless may have a home. We can live our lives with intention. Now John calls to you and says, you must have fruits worthy of repentance. Repentance is another fun word that we like to mess around with quite a bit. Because repentance usually means we go out, we tell people, I'm very, very sorry. We wait a few months, and we're all good again, right? That's all it takes. Seems to be what it is a lot of times. Look at the news and everything else. We go out, we say we're sorry, and we just sit back and hide. But that's not repentance. Repentance is not just the act of saying, I'm sorry. And then, a month later, by the way, doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, right? And say, oh, I'm sorry again. Sorry. And then a few months later, oh, my bad. I did it again. No, repentance, throughout Scriptures, means that you look and you change your whole field of vision. You turn yourself around. Turn yourself around from looking at ourselves and instead look at God and what God has in store for us. The calling that God has for us. A life that is lived not just for ourselves, but in service to the one who made us. And when we were baptized, our parents, if you're a small child, or you yourself, if you're a little bit older, made promises. And at confirmation, we say, I think promises onto myself now. These promises are now mine. Some of them sound pretty easy. I'll live among God's faithful people. Cool, I'll live. That works. Check. I will hear the gospel. I'll come to the table and eat. Check, check. Pretty easy stuff, right? We just fly on by with our lives, keep on doing stuff. I think it's a bit harder. It calls for us to serve our neighbor. This promise of, I'm going to take care of those around me. I'll take care of everyone that I can find that possibly need help. And also, I'm going to act for justice. Now, justice is a fun word too, right? When we think about justice, we go, yes, we got our justice. Someone's in jail for quite a long time. I'm so glad we got some justice now. Is that really what it's about, though? Justice is about far more than that. Justice is about making sure that no matter where someone is in their life, no matter how low their lives may seem, that they're able to stand up. That they're able to have not only their needs met, but be able to have a life that is worth living. Now, there's a phrase out there that says you're supposed to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Am I wearing boots today? I'm not. I finally found my shoes. So if you have those straps on the back, next time when you wear some, maybe when you get home, do me a favor. Bend down, grab your bootstraps, and then pull yourself off the ground by pulling on them. Try as hard as you can. Is it going to work? More likely you're probably going to fall on your face. We like to say one needs to be self-reliant. But the reality is that there are systems at work that make sure that people can't always be self-reliant. So we as Christians step in and say, I am here for you. I'm going to help you stand up. I'm going to help you and stand next to you along your journey of faith, your journey of life. I'm going to pour my heart into you because the one who made me gave me life and loved me first. No matter how unlovable I may be at times, there is one who says, I am loved. I'm going to care for you. We fall too hard at times when we try to judge. We fall too hard when we try to say that someone isn't worth it. Someone's not good enough. I was disheartened. So, back where I grew up in Pittsburgh, there's a mall called Century 3 Mall. Corey's been there? Cool. All right. So, Century 3 Mall, when I was a kid, was fantastic. You go in, there's tons of stores everywhere, and now you go in there, it's a ghost town. There's 8 stores in the whole place. Just depressing to walk through. And I was reading something lately that said, what was the reason? Was it poor management? Was it this? Was it that? What caused this mall to go in such decline? And one reason people gave was because they started busting in the quote-unquote undesirables. I think these people, I don't want them around me. I can't live in community with you. You're not worth my time. You don't have enough. So I'll go somewhere else. Eventually the mall just decreased and decreased and decreased until now you walk around and there's no Santa this year and everything's falling apart. That's what happens when we stop living in community. When we start saying someone's undesirable, that someone isn't worth it, that someone just isn't quite good enough. Everything starts to fall apart. All the leaks and all the cracks come. I'm reminded once again that all fell apart because we stopped loving. I started saying that what mine is mine, and I can't possibly share it. We're now coming up to the Christmas season. Every Christmas movie we see talks about joy and hope. And throughout our season of Advent, we light more candles to bring more joy and more hope into the world around us. And it's true. The more we give of ourselves, the more we act in repentance, and we say, God, lead me where you want me to go. God, help me to use the resources that you've given me to bless other lives. Lord, help me to love even more deeply. Help me to build this community, be stronger and more together. We find more joy and more hope every single day. Are we sometimes brood of vipers? Yeah. As Luther reminded us, we're all sinners and we're all saints. We're not going to be perfect. We're really called to this life of purpose, this life of intention. Maybe we don't take it for granted, but instead embrace that life and bring joy and hope to this world that so often needs. Amen.